The Myanmar military has declared a one-year state of emergency throughout the country. In addition to the state councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, President Win Myint, and other government officials, governors of various provinces have also been arrested one after another. A large number of military personnel have entered the capital city of Myanmar. Telephone and broadband communications were interrupted, bank payment systems and operations were suspended, and Aung International Airport have been closed down until the end of May. What happened to Myanmar's overnight change? The reason behind this current dramatical change is not simple. There is also a deeply hidden but easily overlooked factor. That is what we'd like to discuss today. Welcome to Beyond News with Faye. I'm Faye. Please subscribe to our channel if you like the topic. To understand the current event of Myanmar and its subsequent development, we need to first understand some relevant background info. Since its independence in 1948, Myanmar has been ruled by the military government after the Myanmar Communist and the Cultural Revolution. Does the word revolution sound familiar to you? Let me know in the comments below. Who would have thought that in the 1940s, Myanmar was actually one of the richest countries in Asia? But after so many years of tossing by communism, or the so-called revolutions, and the military's Game of Thrones, by the 1990s, Myanmar had become one of the poorest countries in the world. 2011 was a turning point. Myanmar's political environment shifted from military dictatorship to democracy. Well, semi-democracy, if you know what I mean. However, according to the current Myanmar constitution, although the leader is the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is the person with the real power. And the highest authority is the National Defense and Security Committee, composed of three parts: the president, the cabinet, and military forces. The military is in charge of important departments, including internal affairs, national defense and border defense, and also the police. So although Myanmar has moved from the previous dictatorship to a kind of democracy status, the role of the military in Myanmar's political balance is still a pivotal one. Let's look at the changes of Aung San Suu Kyi's political career. As the only daughter of the founding general of Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi seemed to be born with distinctive aura. After she grew up and studied abroad, she returned to Myanmar in 1988. Once returned to Myanmar, she devoted herself to the uprising movement to overthrow the dictatorship of the country. But unfortunately, she was no match for the military power back then. In the 20 years period before 2010, she was mostly placed under house arrest by the military government, which also made her a star and a symbol in peaceful resistance under autocratic suppression in the 20th century. As an international symbol, she also won the Nobel Peace Prize, which was the most glorious moment of her positive image in the world. In the first general election of Myanmar in 2015, the National League for Democracy led by Aung San Suu Kyi had a great victory and ended the military government. Well, kind of. Yet, Aung San Suu Kyi was unable to become the president due to Myanmar's constitutional restrictions, so she served as a state councillor. She is in fact above the president and is the actual leader of Myanmar. However, after Aung San Suu Kyi took power, Myanmar's recent persecution of Rohingya Muslims have shocked the Western world. This repression, described as genocide by the UN, caused more than 700,000 Muslims to flee Myanmar. Surprisingly, Aung San Suu Kyi changed her previous image of condemning human rights persecution and went to the International Criminal Court to defend the Myanmar government's persecution. She also restrained freedom of speech and applied heavy sentences to foreign journalists who exposed the persecution. From a human rights fighter to someone in charge of the genocide crime, the once glorious image of Aung San Suu Kyi collapsed overnight. Some people say that she was a goddess before she came to power, and a witch after she obtained the power. Why did she change so quickly? Is it a misunderstanding, or was she just too skillful in pretending before? Whether for Aung San Suu Kyi's change or the change of political situation in Myanmar, there is always a hidden but non-negligible factor. That is the role played by the Chinese Communist Party. When Aung San Suu Kyi was a human rights fighter, she publicly criticized the CCP's human rights issues. She was closely related to the Dalai Lama and was once banned by the CCP. At that time, the CCP actively sided with the military government in Myanmar. In 2011, the turning point, the political situation in Myanmar suddenly changed and opened its doors to the world, leaving the CCP aside. And then Aung San Suu Kyi took office. At the time, Beijing realized that many years of political investment in Myanmar had gone by wind. With the political situation's change, the China-Myanmar relations had reached a deadlock. Later, Chinese leader Xi Jinping had no choice but to show his friendliness to Aung San Suu Kyi with an invitation to visit China. At that meeting, Xi and Suu Kyi called two countries like brothers to each other, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Since then, there has been a voice within the Myanmar military. The CCP is untrustworthy. Look, that wasn't the fault of the CCP, really. We all know that the CCP's policy is such that whoever has the real power in the country, it would be the political investment target for the CCP. Simply put, only power and money talks in the games played by the CCP. As for this time, Aung San Suu Kyi's situation, the attitude of the CCP is particularly intriguing. You might say that, didn't they have any response? Let's look at that. When Wang Wenbin, the spokesperson of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, was asked about the situation in Myanmar, he avoided a direct statement by saying that he hoped that all parties in Myanmar would properly handle their differences. That was just as good as saying nothing. That is also completely contrary to the Western world's unanimous condemnation of the military. And there is more. Wang didn't call for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader of the brother country of CCP. So isn't that an interesting thing? Let's look further on the reports of the CCP's mouthpiece. Several reports of Xinhua News Agency are trying to downplay the current Myanmar's political incident and frequently quoting the Myanmar military saying, this really makes people wonder why they do it this way. By turning the time clock back to last year, we might be able to see some insights. Last year, Xi Jinping visited Myanmar and signed the Belt and Road Initiative with Aung San Suu Kyi. Before Xi Jinping, Wang Yi, the CCP's foreign minister, also went to Myanmar. What is interesting is that Wang Yi not only met with Aung San Suu Kyi, but he also met with the military boss, Min Aung Hlaing, the person who detained Aung San Suu Kyi in the current coup. Such diplomatic activities are very extraordinary. This shows that Beijing knows the real power is in the military in Myanmar. And interestingly, the Myanmar military made a high-profile response saying that Myanmar will continue to support China's position on Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Xinjiang issues. Wow! So on the one hand, the Myanmar military was showing off to the world that I'm the hold of power here. On the other hand, the military was bypassing the government and representing Myanmar to show positive attitude to the CCP. More than that, Wang Yi did invite the Myanmar military to express the support for the Myanmar's newly elected government, but the military leader did not buy it. In the end, the CCP's Ministry of Foreign Affairs released these contents. That is, their way of skillfully recognizing the real power is the Myanmar military. Looking back to the current Myanmar's military coup, CCP seems not surprised to see the incident. Thinking of the subtle connection of the CCP with Myanmar's military, there are possibilities that military boss Min Aung Hlaing may have notified the CCP or even got the CCP's approval for this military coup beforehand. So in summary, over time, the two parties in Myanmar, the military and the democratically elected government led by Aung San Suu Kyi, have very delicate relations with the CCP. Suu Kyi went from publicly condemning China's human rights issues to establishing friendly relations with the CCP, also signing the One Belt, One Road initiative. And the military began to receive support from the CCP and turned their back to the CCP when Aung San Suu Kyi took office, and finally publicly supporting the CCP. All these interesting intermingles and changes are very strange. We could imagine how big the role that the CCP has played in these changes. Then how about CCP's role in this current military coup? As for the reason given by the military coup, it is a very familiar word, election fraud. On the one hand, if there was fraud, what is interesting is that some people were really worried before the Myanmar election. Pompeo once said that the US government has concerns for the election in Myanmar, and they will be paying close attention to it. And also the Smartmatic was helping Myanmar in polls in 2017. Think for a moment, that photo showing Aung San Suu Kyi holding Hillary with her left hand and Obama with her right hand, and think of the fact that she also called China a broke country. It is complicated, isn't it? What do you think? On the other hand, if there was no fraud in the election, then it is just a struggle for power in Myanmar, I believe. Whether Myanmar as the backyard of the CCP suddenly caught fire, was this an unexpected fire or an intentional fire from the CCP? Let's wait and see. Also, leave your comments below. If you liked the video, please share and give me a thumbs up. Alright, thank you for watching Beyond the News with Faye. I'm Faye. Until next time.